Namaste and welcome to another great episode of the Mike and Connor Homestead. Doing another episode in the timber series, the Lumberjack series. Want to go over the actual stove. I put in a stove insert when I bought this home. I had a open pit chimney, super inefficient, and I decided that instead of using the furnace as my primary source of heat, I was going to use a stove insert, which was a great idea because someone bought the local power company and now it's a lot more expensive than it was before to use natural gas, and that's what my furnace runs on. So that being said, this furnace is, or this stove insert is a newer stove insert. So it's EPA certified. It runs 80% efficient, and new stoves run really well. I don't burn a lot of wood. It burns super hot. I can control the amount of wood it does burn. The stove's rated for a 2,600 square foot house. My house is like 1,700 square feet, so it's much more than I need, but better too much than not enough. If I really want to fire this sucker up and run it full bore, it'll be like 80 plus degrees in the house. I'll be sitting around in a t-shirt and shorts and some flip-flops on, and it could be 10 degrees outside. So I really like that ability. Price-wise, I think it's probably about the same as running a furnace if you were to purchase the wood. I process my own wood, so I think that I'm in it a lot cheaper. But I think the other major difference, if you are purchasing wood and you're running a stove insert or a conventional wood-burning stove, is it burns a lot hotter than a furnace would be. If you were to run your furnace at the same temperature that you're running your stove at, you would be spending some serious money. So it does burn a lot warmer, so you're going to have a lot warmer house in the winter. I noticed that we didn't get sick as often last winter as well because you're not breathing in that air from the vents and the duct work, so you're not getting like a somewhat regurgitated air. It's all just coming out of here. This stove has a dual built-in blower below it, and it runs on a thermostat, so it doesn't turn on until it's actually warm. So this bottom thing right here, this bottom button, you can press it in to burn fast, or you push it out to run slow, and it just controls the amount of air that's going through the stove. And then you open the door here. This one's 2-foot log capable, so it's going to hold a 24-inch log, and I think it's about 1.5 feet deep, maybe even 2 feet deep. I'm not sure on that. This is a low-pi Freedom, really nice stove. Has the top heat lever so that you can open it up to get the fire started. This opens up the actual flue to the top of the chimney to allow more air in when you're starting your fire. So very nice stove. Seals really well, really nice handle. Weighs about 450 pounds. Me and my cousin installed it together, so really a bear of a job. He's a big guy, so him and I were able to get it in all right, but man, what a lot of work. And I said to myself, never again, until I started running the stove, and I was like, oh yeah, that was totally worth that work. So keep that in mind if you want to try and take something like this on your own. It runs a 6-inch liner through the inside of the chimney to the top, and I clean it about once a month. I bought one of those brushes, and you run it down with these fiberglass rods, and you can shake it. It's a 6-inch wire brush, and I suggest you always keep your flue liner clean, your metal liner, because then you prevent a chimney fire, and you don't want that because you're not going to know it's burning because you're inside warm, and you wouldn't know unless you were outside of the house looking up at the chimney to know if there was a chimney fire. So that's the danger of running it this way. Another thing, when you're burning wood, it's really dry. It's so dry that it starts messing with your throat, especially here in Reno. We're a low humidity state, well, low humidity city. I think the whole state of Nevada is really dry humidity-wise, so I purchased a kettle. This is a wood insert, so I only have about 8 to 10 inches of space on the stove top. So you can see this kettle is a half kettle. So it looks like they cut a kettle in half and welded it together. You can see the cap. Really intuitive idea. I thought it was so awesome I had to get it. It sits on there nice and clean where it's on the whole surface. I didn't want to get a full-size kettle and have it potentially drop. Super dangerous. And just to give you an idea, this is a full-size kettle, and you can see the difference between the full kettle and the half kettle. Half kettle is more expensive. This one's cast aluminum, so it's not going to rust as easily. And we fill it with water and put lavender oil or mint oil in, peppermint oil, so that it has a good aroma to it as well. And it keeps the house really nice and humid and really makes me feel good. No allergies or any of that. So very nice. So definitely recommend you get a kettle if you're going to do the stove insert. It just makes it more pleasant in the house. Another thing that I did, you want to get something to get the ash out, and I got this. You can see, definitely need to have one of these because when you're taking it out, it could be really hot ash and you want to be careful, and this one worked really well for me. I can bring it outside and put it in a big metal box so that it doesn't start a fire. So you want to be safe. I use this all the time. I also start my fires. I cut a lot of kindling during the year, so I get a ton of kindling, and then I just use a blowtorch. This is a really good idea. My friend Reg told me about this. It works really good. Some people go to the store and buy those fire starter assisters. Heck with all that. Just get yourself a nice plumber's blowtorch and you will start your fire every time. And it is easy. You just keep it lit until you know the fire's going and you're running hot, and super easy, super quick. I don't like the Boy Scout method of starting a fire. I like to do the tic-tac-toe, where you take 2 logs and then you put 2 more logs and then you just do them horizontally. So you do 2, 2, and 2, and then there's air in the center, and that works really well for me. The Cub Scout method of the TP for me is not good for the stove, at least. Outside maybe, but for the stove it just gets dirty. It'll end up falling down and then you just got a big mess on your hands. The TP holds its form really well, and I'm a firm believer in the TP. So, and then you always want to have your regular tools, the brush, the pick, and the little scooper to get the old ash out of the chimney. But really like this stove. Got it on Craigslist in the summer, and I suggest if you're interested in doing the wood burning, you actually run it off a Craigslist ad or something in the summer. Don't buy them new. This thing I retailed out at like $3,000 bucks. I got it for $700 bucks with the blowers, and I mean, you can't beat that. And the last thing I wanted to talk about with this is I'm looking at these fans. They make fans that are powered by the heat from the stove. There's like a little radiator below the actual fan. And I almost bought one last year. It's just such a cool scientific deal. It doesn't require any plug-in or anything like that. And I don't know how efficient it is, but it's just so cool. I wanted it, but they're like $100 bucks, so I didn't buy it because I couldn't constitute spending the money for the amount of savings I would get in electricity. These dual blowers work so well. I'm just kind of like, whatever. But I may get one this year. It's just the science idea is just so cool. The heat radiating off the stovetop can power that. So, shout out of the day. I'm going to have to give a second shout out to my cousin Johnny because he helped me move this huge thing. We've kind of had a running thing where I help him move something super duper duper heavy, and then he helps me move something super duper duper heavy, and then we just kind of beat ourselves up together. So one day when both of our backs are all beat up, we can just say, hey, well, we moved a lot of heavy stuff. So Cousin Johnny, thanks for the help, man. You know I appreciate it, and I'm sure there'll come a time when I need to help you move something heavy again as well, so you know I'm there for you. And with that, I want to say mahalo for watching. If you like our videos, hit the thumbs up and subscribe.